Hi guys, hope everyone's well. I'm just here in my room doing the video editing for the latest video, and I just thought I'd do this as an intro into wishing you all a very happy new year, and let's hope it's a little bit better than this one, which has been awful. Big thanks again to all my patrons and all my subscribers and everyone who watches me videos and comments and gives me thumbs up and all that stuff. I really appreciate it. So this video, there's a lot of videos I could have done, but I just wanted to end off the year with something I love doing, which is making Damascus chef knives, which is this is what this one is. This will be the first part of this one. There'll be two parts because it's quite a long video, and I wanted to show the person who the knife is for, some of the processes and steps involved. This knife's dedicated to someone, and I don't even think they know they're getting it yet, so you never know. If you're watching this, it could be you. Right guys, let's get into the video. I'll carry on from where I finish off here in the editing, and here I am just grinding all the pieces of steel. There's 18 pieces, there's 17 pieces of 15 and 20 and 1095, and we're going to start the process here, and I'll see you at the end, and I will see you in the next one. I generally only use borax at the beginning now when I start the forge welding, so I'll put some on each side of the billet, and then that is it for the whole process. Unless I'm doing a hot cut, I will usually put some borax in the cut, but that is it. I still generally put the billet on the anvil when I'm using borax, because I think it just helps press any borax out between all those layers. So it's just once. Compress and consolidate the billet, wire brush it, and then it can go under the forging press for the rest of the process. Well, I leave these bits in at the beginning just to show you the actual speed of this press. 25 ton, and these are the rounding dies or the following out dies, and this is it speeded up now. All I'm doing at this stage is literally just drawing out this billet, get it as long as I can so I can kind of stack it into 6 or 7 manageable pieces. Same process now, get it under these following out dies and pull this bar out. It's pretty much welded together now, this billet. And it's just one piece of steel, so you can afford to be really aggressive with it now and pull it out like you would just, a normal bar of steel. I'm going to swap out the dies now and put some narrower ones in, which will be easier to get the thickness uniform along the whole billet now. And I'll put a packer or a spacer on the end of the die, and that will prevent the dies going any smaller than that. It's actually a couple of files there. little bits of file. I'm going to swap the dies out now and put the big lengthways flatting dies on, and this is just really just to straighten out the billet now, because at this stage I've actually finished drawing out this these 17 layers. You will see now that the billet's got quite a curve in, and these longer dies, they really flatten it out. When you push down and straighten the billet, it also bows the centre out a bit, so these dies again, they just push the centre flat, and I'll just go along it a couple of times, get it a uniform width and get the sides nice and square. Keep pushing down on it, and that's it, the billet's done. Now I'm just going to I've just reheated it, let it soak for just about a minute, and now it'll just go on the anvil to cool down, and we're all ready for cleaning that up, cutting it and restacking it. I've put a Sharpie line down one side of the billet along the full length, so that when I come to restack this I know which sides to stack on which. I cut it into 6, so I've got 102 layers here now, and I really don't put much MIG weld on. I put one little spot between each layer just to hold them together so that I can just compress them, because they're ground pretty flat these, and they should not move. If you grind steel flat you don't need loads and loads of borax, because really the oxygen can't get in, so those are little tiny tacks, and also there's less MIG weld to remove when you've finished drawing out the billet. So we got those hot, and again just a little slather of borax on each side of this, and then we can start drawing out again. I've been over the anvil, and now I'm just going to give it literally one press, and that is it, just to set that weld properly, and then reheat it. Right, I just want to square this billet up now, because I'm going to upset it, so I'm just going to press it from corner to corner to disrupt the pattern. And I should have really done it a little bit smaller than this, a little bit slimmer. So that's what I've squared it to, and like I said, I should have made it a little bit thinner really. Well, I'd made these squaring dies just the night before for today, but I didn't trim them down because I didn't know how big I needed them, and these are actually too big for this billet. You can see now that they're actually too big, the squaring dies, because they come together just there, and it's not pushed the billet down enough. I have got another set of smaller squaring dies, which are actually too small. That's why I made these bigger ones, but they just want about 1/4 of an inch trimming off the ends so that they'll close up more. Well, these are the smaller fuller in dies, and you can see probably that they're too small, and the reason is I had to weld a couple of plates on the inside because the dies deformed and that stiffened them up, but now they're too small, which is why I made the big ones. But I've changed the dies now, and we'll put it into this flattening and rounding die, or pulling out die. So that's it, just squared it up nicely. I can draw it out now. Well, same process as before guys now, just draw that billet out, get it long, get it cleaned up and ready for restacking. And that's it guys, all done. Just reheated that, leave it on the anvil to cool now. Then we can grind it and cut it, get ready for the next step, which is actually a cut. After cleaning that billet up and etching the end, and that is the pattern I've got with 102 layers. Now I'm further going to cut this billet up now and restack it and get it ready for the next step. Okay, there's my stack, cut up 7 pieces. I'll bring in, I've just etched the ends so I can have a look at the pattern and sort of line that up to exactly how I want it. So that's what I've got. So that'll be cut down there and then welded back together, and then that will become the face of the knife. So if essentially one of these sides here will be the cutting edge and one will be the spine. So that's how the knife will be orientated, with that side of the billet squashed back down to about 5mm. Well, it's been over the anvil and I'm just going to push it together now, just make sure the welds are set. And now I'm going to do the cut. This is an axe I made for this job. The only trouble is it does tend to kind of stick in the billet. I always go a little bit too far with it. So then the axe sticks in the billet, so it's a bit of a fight then with the axe and the billet in the vise to try and free the axe out of the billet. And there we go, I got it out, reheated it, fluxed it, and I'm just going to carry on, just finish the cut off now by hammering it. If you use a hammer on the axe while you're cutting a billet, it tends not to stick, but it does take a while to do it, so that's why I preferred using the press. What I've got to do next is I'm going to flux that again. I'm going to open it up a little bit now so that I'll be able to clean it out before I re-weld it. You can completely cut this billet in half, then clean up the faces and then re-weld it, but I just choose to do it now because it just saves another process really. Now reheated, the borax is smoking away. I'm just going to clean out as much as I can of that borax and old shale and stuff, and then just weld this back together with the hammer. Try and snug it up. They can be really problematic, these cuts, for me. I always spend a fair bit of time re-welding these together because they can open up, and this one actually does. Because of the colour of the billet, you won't be able to see it in the video, but I go over the press after this as well. So I put it on the press, the next heat, and this is where we are. And it doesn't, I mean, it doesn't feel right under the hammer. I don't think it's welded at this stage. The only way to check it is to hammer down on the end of the billet to see if the weld will open up. It looks okay, but looks can be deceiving. When I beat the billet there, the outer side, the top where the cut first starts does actually open up, so I'm just going to have to put some more borax in there and just hammer on it a few more times, hopefully get it welded. Here we are again. This is now the third heat on this weld, trying to make sure that it's stuck. I will probably go on and do this another 2 times. I don't want to go under the press again because I'm making this billet way too slim. It's already too slim at this stage because I'm going to have to draw this billet out and widen it considerably, because the end of that billet now is the face of the knife, and it's already gone too slim. So I'll just keep tapping it, and like I say, I'll give it 2 more heats and beat it on the anvil. I wire brushed it here and had a look, and it did look welded, but I didn't really want to hit it on the end at this stage in case I opened it up again. So it's a case of letting it soak for 3 or 4 minutes in the heat and just keep tapping it with the hammer and hopefully close that weld up. Right guys, I'm going to give this a couple more heats in here, and then I'm going to turn the forge off and leave it in the forge for 15 minutes. Hopefully set the weld properly, put it in wood ash to anneal overnight. I can have a look at it tomorrow. I don't know if that's going to open up again. After all, there's 714 welds there now that have got every chance of opening up. It is a mosaic, so I'm pushing against the welds when I draw this out. We'll see. I'll be back with the next one soon, guys. As I said before, Happy New Year to everyone. Thanks to my patrons and all my subs, and I'll see you all in the next one quite soon, guys. Bye for now.